real estate, fitness, and no bullshit real life talk.
Starting up now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. My name's Devin Rose, and
I am John Michael Glenn, JMG.
John Michael Glenn. Glenny. So this is the DevNJmg podcast.
All right. First episode.
Yes, and we are rocking and rolling. Last week, we actually had a couple interferences regarding the technology, but thankfully, I put my big bald brain to it, and I got it figured out. So here we are. I got my empty iced coffee, and
You already rocked that thing?
Yeah.
Jesus.
John was nice enough to shoot me a text and then give me some iced coffee to get me prepped and ready to go.
He's the tech guy. He figured it out.
Yep, got the wires and coffee and the whole mess going on, but we're working, we're rocking. So what's going on today, John?
Oh, nothing. Beautiful day out there. So this is our first podcast. I think today we are going to start talking about how we got into real estate and just kind of started off with an intro and see where it flows. So we can start getting rocking in real estate and the real estate talk and just kind of talk about, where you are, where I am. I think the interesting thing about us is we have different, we're at different points, but we have a lot of similarities in what we're doing right now too. So, and we're both into fitness, so we have a lot of commonalities. So let's just see where this goes. We're gonna be hitting on real estate, how we got in, what's going on with it, and we're gonna dive into the why a little bit as well. So,
absolutely, yeah. And this is the fascinating part about being within real estate. A lot of people don't realize it is your own business. And what's been cool is John's been a mentor to me, and he's been extremely helpful in allowing me to prosper within my business so far. And we've just realized how many things we've had in common, and that's what made us come together and start doing this podcast. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, we hit it off right out of the gate, man. I don't know, when you feel that energy with somebody, then you go for it. So that's why we're here doing this, and it's good. It's pretty natural just talking already, and we've been on this for a couple minutes?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've had so many good conversations, and we haven't recorded them. So it's like, okay, we need to turn the camera on and get recording, because we already covered a bunch of cool things, like as far as marketing and all that goes. So it's been a cool experience for sure. So John, what is it that was the final change before you got into real estate?
Oh, so that was way back. I started out in real estate. Honestly, it was when I bought my first home. I rehabbed the whole thing. So my now wife was living in Boston. We had bought a home, and I came back here and started renovating it. And that's kind of what really popped off my real estate career. When I got done renovating that home, I was like, that was cool.
Yeah,
I really liked that. And that got me really interested in real estate. I get my real estate license shortly after that. It took off from there. So that was the beginning of my real estate career. And now I'm, obviously investing in a lot of property, and that's my passion. That's what I'm completely obsessed with to this day, is just owning property for some reason. I can't really explain why, besides I think I see the reason behind why you would.
Did you play a lot of Monopoly as a kid?
I did, actually. I like Monopoly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the reason. It was really that house, and from there, it just made sense to keep going with it. So yeah,
cool.
Yeah. Cool. So I know you're new to real estate. Let's jump to you and tell me a little bit about why you got going in it, and where you see yourself going. So just to give you a quick background on what I've seen with Devin, the dude's a rock star already. In terms of real estate, he catches on to things quick. He's super just engaged with everything, and I see some big things for him, and I think he's going to catch, quite honestly, people who have been in the business for 10 years. I think he's going to catch them quick because he's doing all the right things. So that's the great thing about this game of real estate, is as new agents come on in this digital tech age, like they're off and running if they're engaged and they have that hustle, which you have. So I'll let you kind of take it from here.
No, and I really, really appreciate that, John. There's a bunch of nice things I could say about you as well. And I just want to add for people listening is because you transition more so from being on an agent, and then now your passion lies in playing the Monopoly man and the coaching side of things.
Absolutely.
Which
Yeah.
is exactly how we met and what our relationship's been. And then it's obviously grown off of that. So for me, I go on at length. So I'll try to just kind of summarize this because you and I can go a little too deep. We have plenty more to talk about. So for me, I was looking for the correct outlet to utilize my skills. And just to keep in mind, I was actually quite shy as a kid. So naturally, I wasn't outgoing. However, I wanted to be outgoing. I kind of joke around. I say I'm an extrovert and like a shy extrovert as a kid because I wanted to be extroverted, but I was shy. So it's something I actively had to work on because I realized growing up, someone had taught me that the people who are the most successful learn how to network. The people who are the most successful, they tend to be pretty good at talking to people and making friends.
Yep. I know so many big mouths in real estate that do so well because they're a big mouth.
yeah. And it might not even be that good.
Yep. They just have a big mouth.
Yeah. So,
but they get good.
Yeah. So I didn't want to be the big mouth, but I realized networking, and then I valued people and valued relationships. So this is where my passion and as far as some of my capabilities, some of my good points, my strong points, that's where it lies. So leading up to before I got into real estate, my final job was working in the financial industry. I was a consultant at Mass Mutual, and I actually spoke to the financial advisors all day on a daily basis. That was my job. So I was consulting with them, and it finally just got too much to the point where, I mean, I was just cooked. I was just dry. I mean, I know I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
I understand.
And it was like killing me inside. Like I was dried out. I mean, Mass Mutual, they were good to me, so I'm not saying anything bad about the company. But for me,
be careful. My wife works there.
Melissa, right?
Yeah,
Melissa, it's okay. But no, it was a good company. I was just so cooked. I was so burnt, and I was actually going to be a financial advisor because of, as I said, what kind of person I am, and actually utilizing what gifts I was given as far as working and networking and putting in the effort. But I could not see myself talking finances all day as far as investments, life insurance, all that, because I don't have the passion for it. And I wanted to be a guy in sales, but I don't want to be a salesman.
Yep.
If that makes sense. Because if I'm selling something that I don't have deep interest in, then I'm just a salesman and I'm not going to be talking the same. Whereas,
well, it's not fun and you don't believe in it. I mean, that's the main thing that you need. You need the belief behind it. You can't sell anything you don't believe in.
Yeah.
Sales is not, it's not fake. When you're truly in sales, you are not selling a product. You are helping people.
Exactly.
And so you make a good point. I mean, you got to follow what your passion is. Absolutely.
Exactly. And a home or investing in, because I want to invest in property and I don't want to. I'm actually going to. That's my plan. That's actually, I'm going to be asking you for plenty of advice come soon.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel like I'm selling. I feel like I'm assisting. Yep. And I'm being their guide. And actually, thanks to you, a lot of the information I've gathered, I've been able to be a pretty damn good guide so far. So,
yeah.
Absolutely. So what,
so I think let's go on to the why. And then we'll get into some things that you've encountered already. Maybe that obstacles that you've had as a new agent.
Yeah.
I'll go over some obstacles I've had as, a more seasoned agent. And because I've had so many obstacles and failures, and I'm sure you've had some already as well. That's what, the game is of being your own entrepreneur or real estate agent or business owner or whatever it is. So let's tackle that in a bit. But I think the why is important of why you're doing what you're doing, because that ties into obstacles, right? If you don't have a deep why and a deep reason, those obstacles are going to stop you. So yeah, I'll kind of let you take it. Before you take it, let me go into where I think the why is misconstrued. And that is like, everyone's like, I want vacations and money and more time with my family and all that stuff. And to me, that is part of your why, but it's not your why. Like, yeah, who doesn't want to go on vacation? Who doesn't want money? Who doesn't want more time with friends and family and everything? But for me, I didn't find my why for years. Like it took me years and years. And I had coaches and they're like, well, write down your why. And it's like, I don't know what my why is. It's just like yours. We all want similar things. But when it really comes deep down into it, I know a lot of people or agents that have a vision board and a why, right? Quote unquote. But when it comes down to doing the things that they're uncomfortable doing or the things that want to increase their business, they don't do it. Right. So that's when your why really comes in. You need to dig really deep. So that's what the why is to me. So what is your why? Do you have your why yet? Have you found your why yet?
I do actually. I do. And
nice.
I'm like 99.9% sure because it can obviously change, but I don't see mine changing.
They can change.
Yeah.
They can change. Yeah.
On the most.
Oh,
well,
at the wind?
Yeah. We have to improv. We just had a bomb blow up in the office. Anyways, my why is part of the reason was my driver to leave a comfy career in the first place. And on the deepest level, because when you said your why in a meeting the other day, and I identified with it, because it's actually somewhat similar to mine, is I haven't said this out loud either. That's why I'm hesitating to say it. Is on the deepest level, I don't want to be a disappointment to myself. And at an even deeper level, I don't want to be a disappointment to my family, specifically my grandmother, because my family believes in me to such a high degree.
Yep.
Specifically my grandmother. My grandmother has, I put her through a lot growing up. I was a little bit of a punk. So, and as I got older,
another similarity me and you have.
Yeah. So as I got older, I'm not a punk anymore. I'm a half decent guy. At least I've been told so. And
I don't see punk. I don't see punk.
My grandmother, she's going mentally. So she looks at me like a superhero. Mm-hmm. Like she looks at me like a child looks at their father kind of thing, looking up to that person. And she believes firmly that I can do whatever. She says it like a childlike way, like you can do whatever you want to do. So if I really think about it too hard, I'll get emotional.
She ain't wrong.
Yeah, man. And that's really what it is. So I actually figured that out after I heard, Patrick Bet David.
No.
He's one of the millionaire guys. He's on, talks a lot of entrepreneurial talk.
Okay.
And he said it, that the why isn't always what you think it is. Like you said, it's not the money or something like that. There's actually a story he told. It's really
cool. I'm glad really he's funny. Backing me up on that because that's something I've like really believed. It's like everyone's painting this picture of the why with vacations and money and family and jets and whatever else. It's all material, besides like time with family and friends. And we all want vacations and all that, but like there's a bigger driver than that. So for me, it's like, and I have used this example before, like, and it's a silly example. And
it's not because I identify with it. It's not.
Well, not mine. I'm not saying mine because mine.
Yeah, because I identify with it because it's like that's my second one. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I identify it to like someone that hits rock bottom. Like they have a deep why. So if you've been through like drug addiction or something would be an example. I've used an example in the past of like someone who's sleeping under a bridge that just has no money, no job, no place to live, no family, no friends, nothing to help them out. They have a deep why, right? They might not utilize that. They would have a deep why if they found it in them, right? They might stay sleeping under a bridge. But if I was under a bridge, I got a why. And I'm making that why come true because I ain't sleeping under a bridge.
It's life or death.
Yeah, that's my why. I don't want to be under a bridge anymore. That's a real why. I'm not thinking about like, going on vacation. I'm thinking about get out of that bridge. Yeah. But my why personally is like, it is money. I love money. I want to make money. But what I've realized is like chasing money doesn't work. And it's about making sure that you're doing the right things and doing what you want to do every day. And my why is just simply, I cannot not succeed. It doesn't fulfill me. So when I wake up every day, if I don't do something productive, or if I don't feel like I accomplished what I needed to accomplish, or I let myself down, I don't feel good. So like my why is pretty simple. It's I want to constantly be just getting better and better, and I don't think I'll ever settle. And some people would say that's not good because like you're never going to reach where you want to be, but I don't think that's the point. It's the journey of what we're doing in life and wherever we want to go.
Exactly.
So, and my wife always tells, she's like, you got to stop thinking about that. You got to, and I'm like, that's just me. I'm not changing me. Like I can work on me, and I can work on trying to improve myself or my self-awareness or my weaknesses or mindset or whatever, but I can't change who I am. So you can only kind of mold and adapt and get a better version of yourself. So for me, my why is simply success because it makes me feel good. And success can be defined in a lot of different ways, but I need to feel good. So
And dude, I identify with that so much. That's the thing. When you said that, I really almost feel like our two whys are plays off of each other.
Mm.
It's almost kind of like when someone says, "I'm afraid of failure," or "I'm afraid of success." Like they both mean the same thing, but there's a little bit of a different psychological part to it.
Mm.
Because when I'm saying I don't want to be a failure, or I'm afraid of disappointing myself, is because for me to be a failure is to like die. Right. I don't mean that I messed up on something. I mean like I gave up and I'm not fulfilling my true purpose, because to me it's death because I'm miserable. And I will actually be miserable.
you will be miserable. Yeah.
So
You're just not happy.
Yeah.
You're just not happy. Yeah.
yeah. And I can tell you that when I'm not doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, I get angsty. I get nervous. And I've spent a lot of my life, my younger years like that, because I wasn't properly putting my time where it should have been.
Mhm.
So like, I've been on both sides of it, and actually like to the nth degree. So I identify with it so much. When you said that in the meeting and you're saying it now, it's like, dude, I get it. I'm wondering how many other people are out there like that, but I don't really hear people say that.
I think there's a lot of, I think entrepreneurs have, all different whys, but I think when you're that passionate, like entrepreneurs wake up and they're like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like that's just their mentality. Not everyone's like that. So people could have different whys, no doubt. I mean, your why could be very simple. If I want to relax, or I want to, that's what I want in my life. It all depends what you want in your life.
Yeah.
Like that's where I think people go wrong. It's like, I need to be certain someone or do certain things or accomplish certain things. Success is so different and you can define it in so many different ways. It all depends on what you want. So I think that's where people go wrong. But I do identify to the family aspect of it, like letting down your family.
Yeah.
Like you owe it. I don't care who you are. You owe it to your family to be a good husband or wife, or a good father or mother, or and provide and be there. And that's important. So like to wake up in the morning, and it goes back to like being accomplished every day. For me, not to accomplish something every day, like that means that I'm not giving something that I could have given to my wife or my children in the form of like success, money that I made that day, right? Because I accomplished something and advanced my career, which hopefully advanced money. Or maybe I didn't do what I needed to do that day and it put me in a bad mood. And now I go upstairs. I have my basement. Hopefully I'm getting out of there soon. I go upstairs from a day's at work and I'm in a bad mood. Why? Because I didn't accomplish what I needed to do, because my mindset wasn't right, or I couldn't overcome something. And now I bring my mood upstairs. And that's bad for my family. I'm not being a good husband. I'm not being a good father because my head's somewhere else. So part of me making sure that I'm successful during that day is so I can go upstairs or get home from work and be like, I had a good day. What's up, fam? Like,
Yep.
How's everybody doing?
Yep.
So, and that's a big part of it. So that's the why. You got anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's really, really important to find the deep rooted cause. As I said, mine might change, but I've had this so the thing is, I've struggled with my why since I was a child. Not like I was trying to figure it out, but I struggled with that complex of not wanting to disappoint myself or fail the people around me, because ever since I was a kid, even like the people I hung out with, they basically just put me on almost like a pedestal, like he's just going to do something with his life. That's kind of how it was. And when I had problems or something, they're like, oh, he'll figure it out. That's how it was. I was that guy where it's
a lot of weight.
Yeah, I know. So it's within me, and I've been able to be the leader. Right?
Yeah.
I have that complex. So it is what it is. And it's just playing with it, toying with it. Cause I don't want I don't want to be a failure, you know? And
Yeah.
failing doesn't mean I mess up on something. Let me make that clear. It doesn't mean like I mess up and now I'm a failure. It means I gave up.
It means you gave up. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's what, like, I mean, I've been on, we'll go into like, I guess we're transitioning right into obstacles now. Cause, but yeah, like obstacles that I've had is failing, right? Like, I think part of that whole, have I accomplished something today and don't let your family down and all that. Like when you fail at things or you give up on things, like that's a guilty thing that you're not only putting it on yourself, but you're thinking about you failing on other people. And I've been there. Like I've failed and I've given up. So like I think that's where probably got me to the path where I like figured out my why is because I failed and I've given up on things before. You know, whether it's lack of patience or it was too hard or whatever it was, like that guilt rides you and it's tough to come back from. Like you got to dig out. And failure is great. Like I fail every day, every single day. There's not a day goes by that I don't make a mistake or fail in some way. Some are bigger than others, but now I'm just like you almost get like a thick skin for it that you don't even care. You're just like, just another day, another obstacle. Let's go. How are we figuring this one out? And it used to be like, oh man, like this is hard. Like what am I going to do? Now it's like, okay, bring that shit on. Yeah. Like, let's go. Because you just get used to it. And I think that's years and years of doing it. So, I mean, I could go into specific obstacles I've had. I'll let you kind of maybe take on some and share some obstacles of your own that you've had, even in the past or as a new agent.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I've had definitely plenty of obstacles for sure. And what I want to add to that, like what you were saying about having those obstacles and then overcoming them, I've realized, John, that or JMG.
I used to be called Glenny.
Yeah, Glenny.
Yeah. For the high school friends out there, hopefully watching this.
I grow in discomfort. If everything's all perfect, I'm not growing. Nothing's really happening. And that's that balance, that yin and yang. I need some mess ups, and then I need some good times too.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can go into like a deep philosophical thought on this, which I'd love to do. I'll spare you the time, but that's what it is. Like I actually need it when everything's riding just right. Sometimes that can be a little bit uncomfortable for me. Like I need the challenge, which is exactly why we've taken on the endeavors that we have, because we know the challenge is there. I don't have that promise of a paycheck anymore. Mm-hmm. Right. It's a scary endeavor, but that is exactly why I love it. And I think it takes a special kind of person. And that's why there's a lot of people that fail out of this game.
Well, when something's too easy, you need that pressure. But you need the pressure to succeed, no doubt.
Every job I've had, I've been good at. I'm good in it for like a year. Then after that, I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Mm-hmm. Because there's no challenge.
So can I hit on something?
Yeah.
So every time when I don't want to get too personal into like finances of myself, but like I usually, when I'm going to buy investment properties, a lot of times, I can think of two specific properties that I've bought where I'm like, should I buy these? I couldn't line up the money I needed from somebody else in time or something. I had to dig into mine. And I've used my own money. You know, I use other people's money now most of the time, but I use my own. And it set me in a place where I was really, really uncomfortable, like scary, uncomfortable. But it made me work harder. And like the minute I feel like I'm in a position where I'm on defense and I'm like nervous about it, I go into like crank mode. Yeah. And I can get business like you wouldn't believe.
Really?
But if I'm in a position where I'm settled, then I don't have any pressure. And I'll still work hard, but it's not the same mentality. Like it's a good feeling to know that you can turn it on when you need to and get business, and know that even if that business doesn't come like right that second, that it's going to come if you just keep working hard.
That's cool.
And I think that's a big thing to have for yourself is that knowing that you can just work hard and you can get it done. But it takes that pressure of like not having any money in your bank account in order to do it. Because if you have a ton of money, you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to make that extra call, or I'm not going to do that extra thing. I can do it tomorrow. But when your back's against it, it's like the guy underneath the bridge that we talked about. Yeah. You're underneath the bridge. You need somewhere to sleep tonight. Like you're going to do what you need to do.
It's like a caveman. He's starving. He's hungry.
Starving.
Serious. Yeah. There's actually there's a bodybuilder I follow, and he says he likes to stay a little bit. He doesn't compete anymore. He's retired, but he's like, I like to stay a little bit hungry all the time. He doesn't want to be full. I don't mean that figuratively. I mean it literally.
Yeah.
As in he wants to be a little bit hungry because he's an entrepreneur now. You know, he owns multiple businesses.
Yeah.
And he wants to be a little bit hungry because there's a psychological aspect to it.
There is.
And he doesn't feel as lazy. He wants to go out and hunt. So like your bank account's hungry.
Yep.
You have that. You gotta go on.
It's not a good feeling. Like when your bank account's empty, it's just not a good feeling.
Yeah.
Just don't like it.
Starvation.
Yeah.
I'll share my some of my obstacles I've had so far. So I can name an array of them. One is there's the actual psychological component. Right? Like we're talking about. I have enough trust and faith in myself that I'm doing this. I took the plunge and I'm doing it, and I do know business is coming. I already have. It's a matter of something closing, right? I have a bunch of things that are ready to close.
Yeah, you've been cranking.
But it's just a matter of knowing like what's going to come next. Right? There's still that fear, and hearing you say that you're at a point where it is your absolute. You'd never have to worry about running out of money because you know exactly what to do. Mm-hmm. You'll get into that uncomfortable spot if you needed to. That's comforting for me. Like, okay,
it's not like I'm a magician. I can just get business whenever I want.
But you have faith.
I have faith. I know I have the skills in order to do it. So all it requires is the hard work because I've developed the skills. Yeah. So if you put in the work, then eventually business is coming.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's a good feeling.
Hell yeah.
Like to know that.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'll be temporarily hurt and down, but I'll get on top at some point. Yeah. You know, if you just keep going. So.
Oh, that's cool. That's a really, really cool thought. It's actually really cool to hear. I strive to be at that point as well, but because this is somewhat newer, even though things have been moving along just fine, I there's always that feeling of what's next. So go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, just wait. You're gonna be drowning in business with what you're doing, because I know I've coached a lot of real estate agents. I know people's characters and work ethic, and I know when I see someone who's going to do well.
Oh, awesome.
So it's you already are doing great, man.
Thanks. Thank you. So another obstacle I've run into, I'd say, is, let's see, trying to think of something specifically, right? I mean, I can name quite a few, but something that has a little oomph to it, I suppose. I
can tell a story.
Yeah,
we'll wrap this podcast up soon.
Yeah.
I've had a building since 2008 that is just a nightmare. But I've stuck with it and have it. And so this is an obstacle that I had when I first got into investing. This is the first building, and it was the hardest one I've ever had. But it was I call it my college degree and of real estate investing, because it put me through the gamut of everything. And one thing, I won't go into all the problems of this building because it's just endless, but one problem that really stood out was I had a problem tenant once, and he clogged all the toilets with some drug paraphernalia.
Oh my God.
And backed up my entire building. It took me 6 months to get him out. It took me I forget what the bills were. It was like $10,000 to $12,000 worth of cash that this particular tenant cost.
Was he just flushing stuff forever?
A long
time? He was.
So there was a reason why it backed up, which I won't get into. But so I went to court with this guy. Finally got him to court. Right, we're sitting at the table across from one another, and the attorney. He was not an attorney. He was an arbitrator. I think he was an attorney, but he was arbitrating arbitration. Yeah. And the tenant looks at me and he's like, the attorney goes, I go, so what are we doing? How are we going to sell this? The guy owes me a bunch of money. And it was funny. I was so mad at the time. The attorney looks at me and he goes, do you think this lowlife's going to pay you anything? And the tenant looks at me and he just goes like this. And he just smiled.
Oh no.
This grin, I'll never forget it. And I wanted to like reach across the table and just destroy this kid. And I was like, I can't, right? And that's the time I realized I was like, yeah, I'm walking away from this table and I'm not getting any money. The tenant's out, which is good, right? Sheriff came like a week later or whatever the date was, and they physically have to take him out. But that was like that was a low point where I was like, is investing even like for me? Because I had already had difficulties like with this build. This was just like a buildup. And after that, it didn't stop. Like there was constant, but it was because all of the mistakes and things I did wrong. Like that, I caused that problem. Like that's why it keeps happening. It was never fixed. And we're, it's better now, right? But it was just lack of experience and lack of knowledge and my college education. It was an expensive lesson.
Yeah.
So like those are the type of things that like you think you should give up on this stuff, but they're actually learning lessons and things you should embrace. And then, think about and go from there, whether it's for you or not. For me, I loved real estate. And I was like, I'm going again. So, but it was a great lesson. So that was one of the bigger obstacles, I think. And I was younger then. So mentally, I was not ready. But you keep going. Like a lot of times you're right there. It's like on the other side of that wall. And you just need to push like right through the wall.
Isn't that crazy? It could be right there.
It could be like right there and you give up. Like I've given up on things before that I was right. Like I was right there. And it was lack of patience and lack of maturity or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anything in closing that we want to wrap this up here? And
well, I'll just say this. It sounds like the smile he gave you was your diploma. that was your
what an asshole.
There you go. And then, as you were talking, obviously I'm listening to you, and then just as far as obstacles, because I can name some certain obstacles that I've had with clients already, of course, right? Certain things that come up, but I don't think it would warrant as much benefit as just like talking about being a newer agent and what I've been doing as far as the time blocking goes, right? Because we've talked about this and I'm starting to narrow it down. Us as realtors, there are people, you were saying, like some people say, oh, I don't know what to do today. No, there's too much to do.
Yeah, like you're overthinking it.
There's way too much. There's way too much to do, right? So it's like an endless amount. I can always find something to do. I've had it twice that I said, what should I do right now? And I'm like, shut up. I can always find something to do. I do. I'm like,
yeah.
Shut up.
You should say shut up.
Like, maybe that's just me. There was one day I'm like, what could I do right now? I'm gonna go. It's when I started going to like the cigar shop. Networking. I do really good in person.
Yeah,
that's where I do. That's where I do good. So like, let me go there. Let me go somewhere else to get in front of people. So what I've been doing is the time blocking. That's been a big obstacle for me. Is just starting to narrow down what it is I'm doing, and then what it is I'm getting the results with. Right. So like me, I got to spend time talking to people at the gym. All of these things. For me, I thought it was cutting away from my time in real estate. I'm like, no, I'm actually working.
Yep.
Doing
all the time.
Yeah. If I wasn't already running late to this meeting, I know we ended up being on time, but there was a conversation I was having at the mobile, and as I was leaving, I'm like, hold on, I could throw something in there to actually get future business, but I was kind of already in a rush. So it's like I'm always actively working, and then you just really helped me realize like, okay, these are the things I need to focus on, and it's coming with time, and then just capitalizing on those. That's been a big obstacle as a new agent. Just wanted to throw that in there. It's so much to do, making sure to make time to do it, and then doing it.
Yeah, and having these thoughts though, you're so far ahead of so many agents just thinking that way because your thought process is already correct. Like that's huge. Real estate's all mindset. Like anything else, but
yeah.
So
my mind's brought me a long, long, long way. I realized the power of the mind at a young age, and I didn't really fully understand it. I still don't fully understand it. I don't think I ever will. I don't think anyone ever will. But the more I get into it, man, I'm a happier dude. I'm a happier dude, and we're gonna have plenty of good conversation on this podcast for sure. We chatted quite well together.
I just had another thought, but I want to end this because we've been going a little bit. But
yeah,
somewhere down the line in the podcast, let's do the chip on my shoulder about my baseball story with my mom.
Okay.
That's something that is it's a limiting belief I had for a long time.
Yeah, dude, let's do
Yeah,
it.
so later on, but yeah. Cool.
All right, awesome.
Wrap it up then.
That's the Dev and DevNJmg podcast, episode 1.